So, today we're once again going to go through the history of philosophy to some degree. A nice rhyme there. No, but it is supposed to be more of a historical thing. Up to this point, I'm not seeing that much of history stuff, so it might come, but this doesn't mean that it is a bad book summary or that it is a bad book or a not good book, but I really believe that it is a really, really, really interesting and good one. And yeah, so therefore I'm also pretty excited to go through the next part of it, and we're gonna see, and I'm just gonna start reading there, because, yes. But the more one possesses of either of them, the more the pleasure is increased, and the more one is in consequence encouraged to increase them, whereas if at any time our hope is frustrated, these or there arises in us the deepest pain. Yes, I feel so as well. I really feel so as well. If I've understood it correctly, then it is about if we're able to lose things, then it is a fucked up thing to have, because it is not something that you're always gonna have every time and whatnot. And it is the exact same way I feel about working out, because you can lose your muscle just really, really, really fucking quickly. At least for me it is the case. I do lose definition and size and volume just really, really incredibly fast. It is insane, actually. And it is fucked up, and it is something that I think about really often at this point in time, since I'm working out quite a lot, really quite a lot. And I always think about, well, if I stop just working out for a week or so, I'm just gonna be completely fucked up. I'm just gonna be completely just very skinny and whatnot. So I'm naturally pretty skinny, to just also communicate that. But it is definitely something that I'm feared of. I might just get the point wrong, but anyway. Spinoza lays down a simple rule of conduct, yes, to which, so far as we know, his actual behavior thoroughly conformed. First, then there is hearsay knowledge, by which, for example, I know the day of my birth. Second, vague experience, which is empirical quote-unquote knowledge in the derogatory sense, as when a physician knows a cure not by any scientific formulation of experimental tests, but by a general impression that it has usually worked. Third, immediate deduction or knowledge reached by reasoning, as when I conclude to the immensity of the sun from seeing that in the case of other objects, distance increases the apparent size. This kind of knowledge is superior to the other two, but it yet precursely subject to sudden refutation by direct experience. So science for 100 years reasoned its way to an ether, which is now in high disfavor with the physicist elite. Hence, the highest kind of knowledge is the fourth form, which comes by immediate deduction and direct perception, as when we see at once that 6 is the missing number in the proportion 2 to 4 and 3 to x, or as when we perceive that the whole is greater than the part. Which is very well worded. I gotta have to say that. I really gotta have to say that. So I'm gonna highlight it because it's cool. I believe that a triangle, if it could speak, would in like manner say that God is eminently triangular, and a circle that the divine nature is eminently circular, and thus would everyone ascribe his own attributes to God. Yes, and this is also one of the reasons why we think about God as a human being. Is he or she or it? We don't know. We just don't know. One is that of Buddha and Jesus, with stresses the feminine virtues, considers all man to be equally precious, resists evil only by returning good, identifies virtue with love, and inclines in politics to unlimited democracy. Another is the ethic of Machiavelli and Nietzsche, which stresses the masculine virtues, accepts the inequality of man, releases the risk of combat and conquest and rule, identifies virtue with power and exalts an hereditary aristocracy. Interesting. I do just actually really have to be conscious about the fact that I'm not gonna highlight everything. A third, the ethic of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, denies the universal applicability of either the feminine or the masculine virtues, considers that only the informed and mature mind can judge, according to diverse circumstances, when love should rule and when power. identifies virtue therefore with intelligence, and advocates a varying mixture of aristocracy and democracy in government, which I actually quite like. It seems to be more neutral, gender neutral. Force to hate is to acknowledge our inferiority and our fear. We do not hate a foe whom we are confident we can overcome. Yes, motherfucker, definitely the case. We are only fearing things that seem to be pretty strong and pretty, we can't overcome these things. And this is one of the reasons why we actually also fear them. Whether it is actually something that makes sense or whether it is something that's complete bullshit because it is just nonsensical. An emotion can neither be hindered nor removed except by a contrary and stronger emotion. This seems also to be one of the reasons why being grateful can use gratefulness or being grateful as such to basically cover any other emotion. Even though it just sounds to be not that of a good thing, but I still think that it is indeed a good thing, because by saying I'm covering my emotions, I do somehow admit that something is wrong, but I'm just not seeing it. I'm also just not trying to see it, which is not a good thing. Neglecting to see things and neglecting to also have things is never ever something good, and it is never ever something that we should be focusing on and doing, because all the emotions that we're having and all those thoughts that we're essentially also having, these show us certain things. And it is important what they are showing us, because without them, we would not be able to see those things that we should be seeing. But coming back to the original point, if you are grateful and if you're really happy about everything that you're having, then there's nothing else you can think of. Nothing. So is it covering it? Kinda maybe. It depends on how you think about it. Is it still something pretty amazing? Yes, it fucking is. Men who are good by reason, i.e. men who, under the guidance of reason, seek what is useful to them, desire nothing for themselves, which they do not also desire for the rest of mankind. There is nothing more that I wish for everyone. I don't care whom it might be, but I wish that we all do have a place that we are happy in. This is one of the things that I wish for everyone. I do just want everyone to be happy, because I totally believe that, a lot of things would change, first of all, if we all would be happy, which at this point in time is just not the case. And I do sometimes have to say that it is our own quote-unquote fault that we are not happy, because we can often just really do something about it, by surrounding ourselves with amazing people, which I have actually subconsciously done, and I'm actually really fucking grateful about it. So shout out to my boys. I love you. I really do. And just by the decisions that we are making. We can start smoking, we can just drink a ton of alcohol, and we can just do a lot of fucking shit that is eventually gonna destroy us in the long term. Of course, in the short term, it might be something pretty amazing, it might be something that's pretty cool, but in the long term, it's never ever gonna be something that's pretty cool. It's never ever gonna be something that's pretty nice. It's not gonna be. It's not cool. It's not great. You're not gonna feel good. You're gonna, you're gonna be fucked quite in the long term. But I do just wish happiness to everyone there. It is insane how much I wish this for everyone. Since fear of solitude exists, not solitude, but solitude exists in all men, because no one in solitude is strong enough to defend himself and procure the necessaries of life. Isn't it necessities or something? It follows that man by nature tends towards social organization. I think we all do, isn't it? Law is necessary because men are subject to passions. If all men were reasonable, law would be superfluous. These powers were mutually destructive. It would withdraw no liberty except to add a greater one. The further I advance in age, the more I find work necessary. It becomes in the long run the greatest. Yes, it indeed is the case, because it probably is also one of the things that you're doing every single fucking day. So it becoming necessary, and this is actually pretty interesting, because I was at my grandparents' house yesterday, and I said something similar to, at this point in time, I feel like just that this is exactly how people have to feel when they retire. I'm just bored. I'm doing something. I'm just trying to keep myself somehow just doing whatever and just not waste my whole day for whatever. And my grandpa just smiled at me and laughed. And I think, to really be honest, I think that he's also thinking about that. I think he's 75 or something, and he's still working. So I don't know. And I've also once asked him, like, do you really just want to keep working and stuff? And, is it fun for you? And he said, yes, it is fun. It is still fun for me. And it made me really happy, to be honest. Because, of course, if it is something that you're happy about, then you can work just on that particular thing for just endless time until you actually die or something. And on another hand, I do have to say, like, if you just stop working after like 50, 60 years or something, it is insane. What are you doing the whole day long? Basically fucking nothing. And it is fucked up and not cool. So I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like that he's also feeling that it is going to be really boring if he stops working. But it is, I don't know. Like, you don't have to stop. But I think at some point, I don't know. Like, I think it is, I don't know. Doing things drive me. I believe that if I wouldn't be doing just certain things, then there would be no drive in my life. And this is fucked up and boring. And I don't want to have that. Every triumph sharpens the sting of later defeats. Yes, it's the exact same thing that I've been talking about in terms of building muscle. The more muscle you have, the more defeated you're going to be if you just lose, quote unquote, everything. You're not going to lose everything, but if you lose like 50%, it's going to be a fucking pain in the ass compared to when you're just having, less amount of muscle and you lose half of it. Of course, you're still going to be fucked, but it's probably not going to be, It might actually kind of be the same thing. It might actually kind of be like, okay, I've lost 50% of it. So whether I've just started at or ended at quite, 180 pounds, and then I've been like 90, which is insane, that you're having half of your weight in muscle mass. But, let's let's just not talk about that. And I don't know, I think I do think that it is kind of the same. Whether you have this amount of muscle mass or that amount of muscle mass, if you lose half of it, you're gonna just be not happy about it. You're right, he replied. I have said to myself 1,000 times that I should be happy if I were, but as ignorant as my old neighbor. And yet it is a happiness which I do not desire. You're right, he replied. I do, by the way, think that philosophy is a fucking amazing thing. I think I gotta have to read something about philosophy. I think it is just great. I do just want to repeat it once again because, I don't know. You're right, he replied. I have said to myself 1,000 times that I should be happy if I were but as ignorant as my old neighbor, and yet it is a happiness which I do not desire. Voltaire refused, and like another Cato, began to end all his letters with "crush the infamy." What does infamy mean? Notoriety, disrepute, loss of reputation, discredit. Well, I don't really get it. If God did not exist, it would be necessary to invite him. Also don't get that. I do not agree with a word that you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say. That's amazing. That really is amazing. I like that. I really like it. After all, when one tries to change institutions without having changed the nature of man, that unchanged nature will soon resurrect those institutions. Yes, totally. If you change just the whole, but the people are still the same, guess what? It's gonna happen. These quote-unquote institutions or these groups, they're gonna form once again, and the whole thing is gonna kind of repeat. Not necessarily fully. I also think about Nazis because of some funny reason. Like, of course, at this point in time, there's really right-wing people, but just because we have quote-unquote destroyed the structure and the organizational heart of Nazism doesn't mean that all Nazis are dead. And there's still groups and there's still Definitely small organizations that do, or also big organizations that do still carry those thoughts. So yeah. Voltaire and the liberals thought that intellect could break the ring by educating and changing man, slowly and peacefully. Rousseau, I think, and the radicals felt that the ring could be broken only by instinctive and passionate action that would break down the old institutions and build at the dictates of the heart new ones under which liberty, equality, and fraternity would reign. Which is very French Revolution-ish. And it is actually amazing that I remember that. Because liberty, equality, and fraternity, which is, I think, liberté or liberté, equalité, and fraternité, means liberty, freedom, equality, we're all the same. And fraternity is, I think, brotherhood or some yeah. Because il mio fratello is also in Italian, my brother, as far as I remember. I hope I remembered that correctly. But yeah, I think it is. He gave the human mind a great impetus. He prepared us for freedom. But who is he? I know this is a good question. To adapt Hegel's phrase about Spinoza, to be a philosopher, one must first have been a Kantian. I don't know. Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher. For the mind of man, and here at last is the great thesis of Kant, is not passive wax upon which experience and sensation write their absolute and yet whimsical will, nor is it a mere abstract name for the series or group of mental states. It is an active organ which molds and coordinates sensations into ideas, an organ which transforms the chaotic multiplicity of experience into the ordered unity of thought. Well, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I'm gonna highlight it because maybe some people, in the near or far future are gonna be like, well, this is amazing, even though I'm like, well, I just don't fucking get it. There are a priori because all ordered experience evolves and presupposes them. Without them, sensations could never grow into perceptions. They are priori because it is inconceivable that we should ever have any future experience that will not also evolve them. And because they are a priori, there are laws which are, I don't actually know why I'm pronouncing it that weirdly, but I think is the case. The laws which are the laws of mathematics are a priori absolute and necessary. World without end, it is not merely probable, it is certain that we shall never find a straight line that is not the shortest distance between 2 points. Well. By the way, something that I do want to check out because I believe that it is a very interesting book, The Story of Philosophy. I do want to see for the end of this video or also podcast, by the way. You can also check out the podcast. I think it is way worth or more worthwhile, I guess. I don't know. To go through the podcast or to listen to the podcast because I don't know, it is way more efficient. But I want to have a look whether I can find the book on the archive.org for borrowing it. And I hope it is the case because then I'm actually going to borrow it because I think it's pretty great. And I think it is a very good overview of philosophy, I guess. And there's a lot of interesting thoughts in there, so it would also be quite a nice thing for me. Well, we see. Very slow today. Yes! Is it this? Is it this one? Is it shouting around like a fucking dumbass. Wrong one. By Will Durant. The story. No, it's Maggie Bryan. Durant Will. The story of Schopenhauer's philosophy. Well, this is not what I've been searching for. The story of Jewish philosophy, the story of Western philosophy. What if I just Durant Will? But I also wanted the essential guides to the history of Western philosophy. Maybe I'm actually gonna have a look at it. Durant Will. What can I find there? Well, thank you. The Reformation Will Durant case for India. The Mansions of Philosophy, a survey. The life of Greece, Will Durant. The story of civilization. Also very interesting. Or sounds very interesting. The story of philosophy. Yes, there it is. Public Library of India. Interesting. It seems to be more or less a script, the lives and opinions of the great philosophers of the Western world. Is it the same one? I wonder. The lives and of... I can't actually read it. But I think it is actually this one, yeah. Seems to be the case. And I think you can download it. Book source. Full text, 1 file. EPUB, 1 file. Can you download it just as such? Let's see if it lets me download it. PPI 600. You could actually also print it. So there you have. PDF with text. Also 1 file. Kindle. There's actually also a Kindle file. So I'm gonna get it for my fucking Kindle. That's fucking amazing. To my wife. Grow strong, my comrades. What the fuck? The story of philosophy, the lives and opinions of great philosophers, blah, 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 blah. But published by Simon & Schuster. Something that I've also seen, and it might be the same one if we go back 2 times, is that it's actually also there. And why am I so me? Because it's actually there, there it is. It just seems to be very old, the 1926 version of it to be, and it's having 600 pages. But it seems, and and there's a hand on every page. I'm fine with that. I'm not gonna lie, but it's a really long one. It seems to be really long. Can I download the Kindle version just as such? And I'm very sorry if I'm wasting your time. I can, so I'm gonna also download it. Thank you. And it is some weird thing, actually. Oh no, it's just fine. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the episode. So there. Yeah. Thank you very much for going through this with me. I just really truly appreciate that. And yeah, I'm hopefully gonna see you the next time. So bye. Have a nice day, and I wish you the best health, wealth, happiness, and also success, and also hope that you're gonna advance yourself and you're gonna be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person and then also being remembered as a nice person, which is a pretty fucking cool thing. But 3 other questions that I'm having you are: first one, why are you here? Second one, what are you trying to change? And the third one, what is bothering you the most? Anyway. These are 3 questions hopefully gonna show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is a pretty fucking cool thing if you think about it. On one hand, on the other hand, it's pretty cool. Another question that I'm having you is, what could you particularly say, but also make and build and whatnot, that is just gonna make somebody else's life fucking good? What could it be? Please think about it. Please have a look at it. Please just deal with it. I would appreciate it. Yeah. And with that being said, I'm hopefully going to see you the next time. Thank you very, very, very much. And yeah, bye-bye, I think. Have a nice day. Please stay generous, nice, and patient, and everything else. Thank you. This is what I really want to thank you for.